So let's go ahead and start getting into the heart of the matter, and that's the five costly home buying mistakes that could cost you thousands. This is our Everett area first time home buyer class. But if you're in North Carolina like Gene, or if you're coming out of the military transitioning, whatever, King County, Pierce County, we service the entire Western Washington area. So thank you for being here. I'm glad you're in this room tonight. I want to serve you well. We have our lending professional, Fernando, in the meeting with us as well. So if there's anything that you have in terms of real estate or mortgage lending, we got you covered. So thanks again for being here. Thanks for being on camera. For those of you that are comfortable with that, if you're busy driving, I want you to make sure that you're being safe. So remember, safety first. Let's, stay off of camera and just be an audio only. If you're driving, please be safe. Drop the questions in the chat at any time. Remember, this is all about information. It's not a sales pitch. Yes, I am a licensed realtor in here in Washington State. Fernando also services the state as well. We would love to work with you, but again, we're not here to sell you anything. We're here to give you education and information. So, with that being said, leading with value, if you do stay to the end, we do have some great value for you, another bonus, and also we'll help you with showing you your next best step. All right. Again, this class is all about clarity, not about pressure. So, this class is for you if you are thinking about buying a home in the next 6 to 18 months. Now, if you're in a situation where you need to buy something within the next 60 days, we can help you with that as well. But this is not about rush you through the system, or if you're not ready right now, we're not worried about you or we're not thinking about you. You can still get value if you're still looking to prepare to buy within the next 6 to 18 months, maybe even longer. If you want the facts and not hype, sometimes we all think, what's the catch? It's too good to be true. Again, this is all about facts, not about hype. If you don't want to make a $50,000 mistake, this class is for you. Let me see here. If you want somebody in your corner, a trusted advisor, a great asset to help you with this whole process, this class is for you. What this class is not for, it's not for house flippers, get rich quick thinkers, or people that are looking for shortcuts. Thinking about the home buying process, just like anything new that you take on, if you're any way like me, you're thinking, how can I not screw this up? I want to make sure to do this right. I remember buying some things from IKEA and I wanted to make sure to do it right. So I followed the instructions, even though I'm like, I could figure this out on my own, but I try to follow all the instructions. And sometimes you end up with some extra pieces or some extra fasteners or screws, and you're like, uh-oh. And somewhere down the line, you might figure out where you messed up. But here's where we want to help you not mess anything up. And what happens most of the time is that you're not shown the right order. You think if buying a house means I'm going to just go out there on my own, I search online. It can't be that complicated. But most of the time, buyers aren't shown the right order. And tonight, that's what we want to accomplish. So, before we get deep into it, put in the chat how you're feeling about buying a home at this time. Are you confused? Doing a lot of research, getting overwhelmed by that whole process? Are you nervous about prices or rates? Unsure where to even start? That uncertainty is a real feeling. It's an emotion that we don't take for granted. So just want to get a feel for how you're feeling. Put it in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling, and we'll make sure that if we're doing our job right, we'll address those feelings tonight. Because our goal tonight is simple. We want you to be able to say at the end of this class, okay, I got this now. I know the right order. I know what to plan for. I'm no longer guessing. You can look at yourself in the mirror, or you can look at your partner and you can say, we got this. That's our goal tonight. All right. So I mentioned before, if you stay to the end, we have some goodies for you. It totals above $3,000. So please stay to the end. I love to share that with you. And again, it's not a catch. It's not hype. This is real. A little bit about myself. My name is James Hemphill Jr. I'm a managing broker and realtor here in the great city of Everett, Washington. I've been working in this business for about 10 years now. I do specialize in helping first time and move up home buyers buy and sell without stress. I specialize in process improvement strategy, client protection. I carry multiple professional and industry specific designations designed to help me do my job better. So, like a accredited buyer representative and certified negotiating expert. All that makes me what has been called as a calm commander. I handle stressful situations, complex situations with calmness, and it really has helped me to become really great at what I do. But again, this is not about me. This is all about you. I just want to give you a little background on me so you can kind of get a feel. This is a know you, like you, trust you kind of business. So I have no problem sharing a little bit about myself. My big whys, why do I do this? Well, it's all about my faith, my family, and I like to have fun. So before I got into real estate, I was a supply chain manager, if you believe it or not. Companies like J.C. Penney, Coca-Cola, Kraft. I did my undergrad and graduate studies at Urbana University. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, so yes, I'm a big Buckeye fan. So go Bucks. I relocated to Washington in 2009 with my supply chain job. So I totally understand what it's like to pull up your roots and move from one state to the next. The stress and the headaches and the worries about that moving process. And I had a home there, but I couldn't have two homes. I couldn't afford two mortgages. So I had to work on getting that home sold, getting housing here. So those military type of moves or those corporate moves, I'm well versed and I understand what you're feeling in that situation. I lead from a servant perspective, either whether in my church or in community. Me and my family, we love to travel. I picked up the game of golf and I became an avid golfer. I love to golf and I'm a kind of a kid at heart and I love building Lego sets. Star Wars is one of my favorite theme sets right now. That's a little bit about me, but again, more about you and what we want to see in you. We want to see you be successful home buyers. So I love home buyers. It's not about, I mean, yes, I work the listing side with sellers as well, but I love home buyers. And they love working with me. And I've gathered quite a few reviews over the course of time. And so, again, I know I said it's all about knowing who you are and finding out that you're trustworthy. So I definitely encourage you to explore what's being said about me online, as well as all my partners on the team. You know, we have our Google profiles, realtor.com, so you can verify that we are who we say we are. And again, it all leads to happy faces, just like you see right here. This is where we want to see you at the end of this whole process. All right. So, over the course of 10 plus years, helping hundreds of buyers, I found that first time home buyers, they don't fail because of money. They struggle because they're not shown the right order. They don't have the real numbers. I know you hear a lot of things about interest rates or about this whole home buying process. Sometimes you just don't get the right information. And looking at the long-term play is the way to go when it comes to real estate and home ownership equity. Now, tonight we're going to fix these issues. So if you find yourself in any of those categories, know that we got you covered. And so we talked about the five costly mistakes. So we're going to start with mistake number one, and that's not exploring all buyer programs early in the process. You may not know, you may know that there are several programs here in Washington that can reduce or eliminate your down payment, help you with your closing cost, increase accessibility to housing. You know, shelter is a basic human need, and there's a lot of different reasons why you may find yourself not living in a home, but housing and home ownership is really, really important to us as an individual agenda and to you, I'm sure, because, again, when you're renting, you're basically throwing money away. Again, you want to make sure that you look for these programs before you shop for homes, because again, the right order does matter in this whole process. So let me know if you like the idea of leaving tons of money on the table. Anybody like to leave money on the table, or do you like savings? All right. I hope that nobody wants to leave money on the table. So what is a first-time home buyer program? Well, they are specific to the location of the home. We're going to talk about different loan programs. So there may be some things like, again, the zero down program with the USDA. Some of them are dependent on your income. So there are maximum earning numbers that Fernando could speak to. So if you're thinking that you're on the break off point between yourself and your partner, where you may fit, but a first time home buyer program can be dependent on your income. Some of them have interest rates that are more favorable than the market rate. And again, some of them are 100% financing. And so we want to make sure to explain to you and share with you all these different items and products so that you can make the best decision for yourself and your family. So, as an example, let's look at Mr. Johnny here. He wants to buy a home. And Johnny is looking at a home that's in the $475,000 price point. Johnny has decent credit scores. He's taking care of his credit, and he's got about, he finds himself in the FHA loan product as the best option for him. So, FHA requires a minimum of 3.5% down payment. So, that would be $16,625. So, that makes his total loan amount $466,396 roughly. Okay. We have a 4% down payment assistance program that we could offer to you if you qualify for this product. That will give you $18,655 to apply towards the purchase of your home. That means you would have a $2,030 surplus left over to support you with your closing costs. This is a real scenario. So, how do the programs work? Again, some of them provide down payment assistance. Some of them are based on the kind of job that you do. At my Fernando, they have a hero program. If you work in an essential worker type of position or education, there's some benefits that are coming to you or available to you based upon the type of job that you do. And you may be even to stack some of them up on top of each other. So you can kind of consider yourself double dipping. Who doesn't like to double dip? Hope you're not double dipping the chicken wings, okay? All right. Now, there are two ugly facts when it comes to buying a home. And some of that is, well, put it like this. We've kind of distilled it down to two things. One is most big banks, they don't specialize in first-time home buyer and down payment assistance programs. And you might ask yourself, why is that, James? Well, the reason why is they're a lot of work. And there comes a time when, a business has to think about business and efficiency. These programs take a little extra legwork, just like my partner Fernando had mentioned earlier. We do work with the commission or the Washington State Housing Finance Commission, and that requires you to take an additional course, which is like 4 to 5 hours. Most big banks, they're not going to do that. We do that on the evenings and weekends. So if you'd like to talk more about that, again, reach out to us in the chat, and myself or Fernando will reach out to you about our next home buyer certification or education class about the commission's certification process. But most big banks don't want to go through that. It's too much labor, too much paperwork. It's not as profitable. And of course, sellers agents, they love seeing pre-approvals from local lenders. When you're dealing with an offer process, there's going to be a time when there's going to be more than one bidder on a property. And if a seller's agent can communicate with that local lender, that can be a big deal for you because it can help get your offer accepted because they know they're dealing with someone that they can talk to that's in the same time zone, and they don't have to worry about missing out on a question that they need an answer to. So those are the two ugly facts. If you are not going to be paying all cash, which I don't think anybody that's here will be, you're going to need to apply for a mortgage. And when you apply for a mortgage, there's going to be some paperwork that the lender is going to ask you to complete in advance, as well as other documentation that is going to need to gather. So when you are ready to start that process, be prepared to gather those documents, bank statements, W-2s, pay stubs, et cetera, in order for the transaction to continue. All right. Again, I did promise you that I have my mortgage professional here. His name is Fernando, and Fernando's going to speak a little bit about himself and what he does. So, Fernando, please introduce yourself and let all these good folks know what you do and how you do it.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, thanks, James. I've been trying to just respond to all the questions in the chat. I realize this is the most liveliest chat we've had since we've been
Fantastic.
doing this, which is great.
Hmm.
So yeah, I like James was saying, I'm local. I live in Edmonds, Washington. It's Snohomish County. I've been doing lending for the past 10 years or so. Primarily, my shtick is the down payment assistance, first time home buyer programs. Now, with that said, James was earlier, saying or mentioning earlier that we do teach in-person classes. I do about 5 or 6 per month of these 4 to 5 hour sessions. Typically, it's an in-person class in Edmonds. I'm more than happy to open up to different locations, but primarily that's where we do them. And as far as the value proposition or the reason I love this job is it the, the the avenue that we kind of lend in, it it introduces me to especially first time home buyers and to areas of where people may have thought, oh, I couldn't buy a house. And so the advantage of these down payment assistance programs is that it gives, I believe, clients more options on the American dream to own a house. And rather than maybe working in a different, kind of segment or whatever, I do just really enjoy the first time home buyer programs and to really just put the word out. James was saying earlier, this isn't a sales job. I feel like myself and James are information brokers versus salespeople. And I'm very passionate about the classes and just putting the word out, really. And I thank James for inviting me to these sessions. I really do enjoy, his this little 1 hour class. But the real meat of these programs is to meet in the 4 to 5 hour class, get certified, have a licensed, professional realtor kind of work with you and be patient with you throughout the whole process to find a solution for you all. So that's what I'm here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Fernando, for sharing. And folks, if you'd like to talk with Fernando, his information is on the screen. Again, we want to offer it to you. We're not forcing it to you. But again, just to speak to what he and I partner on with the training, that certification does stick with you, or it's valid for 2 years. So once you get certified through the commission, that certificate is good for 2 years. So it's a great program, great opportunity to take advantage of that money. And I didn't see anybody raise their hand when they said they like to leave thousands of dollars on the table. So reach out to Fernando. He could definitely help you out. Good guy. Mistake number two, buyers doing the right things, but in the wrong order. Okay, so how does that happen? It doesn't matter, right? Well, think about it like this. I love analogies. And so let's think about baking a cake. You may have seen something on, social media or a cooking show and it looked phenomenal. You're like, I want to make that. You got a birthday coming up and you haven't prepared in advance. So you say, well, guess what? I could just make a cake. Well, that's great. You get the ingredients, we're going to make a chocolate cake. So we got flour, we got cocoa, sugar, butter, eggs, and you'd be like, okay, good. But what if you get the order wrong? This could turn out to be a situation that ends up something like this. Now, it might taste like a cake, it might look like a cake, but is it really a cake? Is it a cake is that the outcome you expected? Well, this is what it looks like when you're buying a home and you get things in the wrong order. You might get the wrong mortgage interest rate. You may not get the agent that's going to negotiate to get the seller to pay those concessions that can help offset your out-of-pocket expense. So we want to make sure that you do the right thing, which buying a home or thinking about putting the pieces together to buy a home. That's the right thing to do, but we want to make sure that you get it all in the right order. So how do we really do this in real estate terms? So doom scrolling Zillow for multiple years, meaning if you're just looking online and you're seeing all these wonderful homes, or you're just looking to see what prices are looking like right now, and you disqualify yourselves inadvertently because you're looking at these homes and you're looking at what these estimates are, and you don't get the actual numbers because you're thinking of that, I can't afford that, or I can never live in that neighborhood. This is what doom scrolling equates to. It helps you to kind of mentally disqualify yourselves. Sometimes you might get curious and you say, I'm gonna just go ahead and go into this open house, or I'll call on the sign that's in the yard and out in front of the house that I want to buy. You think that listing agent's going to help you out. Well, that listing agent is duty bound to get the best deal for that seller. So it's just like in a court of law. If you tell a listing agent something, they're going to have to tell the seller that. So you don't want to tell them your strategy because it's going to work against you. The next thing is you could walk into a builder's model home and you say, "Oh my gosh, this is wonderful," and they're talking about all this and that and whatnot. But the builder's agent on site is there to get the best deal for the builder. It's just common sense. So these are the components, these are the ingredients that go into the wrong recipe for buying the wrong house. And eventually you just get tired of all this back and forth. Your lease is expiring, you got an issue with something going on at home or wherever you live, and you just need to get out and you rush into a bad deal. This is how you find yourself with the wrong situation. And we want to help you avoid that. That's where getting stuck or sucked into the builder's marketing machine can be something that's going to hurt you. So think about this. When you go into a new home model, you're going to run into one or two people, if not both. It's going to be the handsome sales dude or it's going to be the friendly sales lady. Now, the handsome sales dude, I mean, he's going to probably run for office one day. He can talk, he smells good, he dresses nice, drives a suspiciously nice car. He says it's fine a lot when you ask questions. This person's worried about his bonus only. He then getting you the best deal is a secondary option. This person's really worried about his bonus. Then the friendly sales lady, she can talk to a wall at no end, and she's just going to, you know, introduce herself. She's going to probably know the name of your pets and your kids like right away. And the next thing you know, you got a 50-page contract in front of you. This is what we don't want you to fall victim to. Again, they this person doesn't really know the product well, so all the features and whatnot. This person has what we call commission breath. This deal is contingent upon her paying her rent. So we want to be careful that you're not working with someone in this builder situation that doesn't have your best interest at heart. But there are some great products out there in new construction, and we want to provide you with some information, some valuable information, some tips and tricks, some hacks on how to work with a builder. So when it comes down to new construction, once they complete a project, that's an asset that's just sitting on their books. So we want to see if we're looking at new construction, go after the ones that are already complete versus buying a pre-sale one, because if those are sitting on the market just there, completed, they're in a more urgent situation to move those homes. And again, having options, having that walk away mindset is one of your best strategies when it comes to dealing with the builders. So if you keep those two things in mind, those are just a couple tips that we can offer to you in how to deal with builders. There are some great builders out there, and we do work with them as well. And so, our friends over at Banner Bank, they do have a product that can help with additional $5,000 in closing costs when you're looking at new construction homes. Right now, this is running through the end of the year, but there's some opportunities for it to continue on. Just depends on what the product is and what your timing situation is. That's why we want to have these consultations or schedule that appointment with Fernando or myself so we can talk you through these products and these opportunities. But again, these are products and loan savings that you can stack on top of each other. So if this is making sense to you and how the game works, if you want to call it the game, but the game of buying a home is a fun game. It doesn't have to be stressful, but there's opportunities for you to tap into additional savings because the builder is not the only one that can provide you value when it comes to a new home. So again, Fernando and his team over at Banner Bank, they do offer that product. So if you want to learn more, please feel free to take advantage of that opportunity. All right. I know this is a Wednesday night and you may have other obligations, so we do want to just jump in real quick. If you do want to book an appointment, you're saying, hey, James, hey, Fernando, I like what I'm hearing. Take the time now to book an appointment with us. It's 15, 20 minutes. I mean, I usually schedule for 30 because I don't like back-to-back meetings, but nonetheless, book a meeting with us, have a conversation. It's no obligation. It won't hurt you. At least at the end of it all, you get some information that you can walk away with, maybe come to one of our first time home buyer certification classes, get a free lunch, get to meet us in person. But again, this opportunity is available to you. And if you cannot stay until the end, here's an opportunity right now to just jump in there and reserve some time on our calendar. All right, moving right along. Mistake number 4, getting spooked or intimidated by the numbers is your fourth mistake. Buying a home and understanding all the concepts, all the contingencies, all the details, it can be confusing until it's explained properly. And again, the good news is many buyers don't pay what they think they'll pay to become a homeowner. How are we doing out there? Any questions? So thinking about the home buying process in this mistake number four, there's going to be some specific terms that you're going to hear about, escrow being one. I see your question, Gene, and I definitely will speak to that as well because I do have some help for you. Escrow, earnest money, inspection fee, mortgage insurance, closing cost. You know, these are concepts. These are things that some people is like, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Well, we're going to help you with that. So escrow is like almost like a bank account. All your documents, all the money is all put into escrow. And escrow is a component of the title and closing process. And this is what will happen only once you're under contract. But this escrow account is where the monies and the contract, the deed of trust, everything is all secured in this whole escrow process. Closing costs. This may be confusing for a lot of people because we got down payment, we got closing costs. Well, what are closing costs? Well, basically, you can put them in three different categories. Category A is going to be your fees from your title company, which again, title and escrow, they do a great service, but it is not free. The lender gets to get paid. Rate buy downs. If you buy down the rate, that will be an additional closing cost. If the home that you buy or condo is in an HOA, there will be additional fees there. If you're doing a VA loan or a FHA loan, there's going to be upfront fees when it comes to that as well. And the guarantee fee for a USDA loan. So I know they say USDA is 0%, 100% financing, but there are fees associated with these products. And then there's prepaid taxes, which are property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, et cetera. These are kind of the three main categories as to what goes in the closing costs. And, the amount can vary depending on the type of lender that you work with, the flexibility that they have to give you different discounts on the rate or other fees. So again, shopping your opportunities is a very important thing when it comes to the process. But again, it is a cost and they're expensive. So we want to make sure to give you an opportunity to mitigate that expense because let's have somebody else pay for them. If we can show you how that we can get somebody else to pay for those closing costs, that's a win. I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to take advantage of free money. Again, I can go back a few slides and see if anybody would like to change their answer about paying more money out of pocket. This is where I come in, seller concessions, but there's also sellers making concessions to help move the process along because sellers don't want to hold on to property. They want to sell it just like you want to buy it. And believe it or not, you're in control. You're the one with the power because you're bringing the money. The seller does have the home that you want, but without you, the buyer, they can't do anything. So sellers offer concessions to entice the buyer to make an offer. They want to get the house off of their hands and into yours. And it doesn't mean they're trying to trick you or play a game. It's just part of the process of making this what we call the market. The market is an open exchange where goods, commodities are traded. And so when we're going through this process, the seller will offer certain concessions up front. And again, this is all about the process of buying the home. Again, some of these are offered up front where they'll show you what they're offering, like say $10,000 in this concession, or they're paying the buyer brokerage fee. Because again, the lending is a separate part, the buying agent part of it is different. And so we all get paid. But my goal, and this is what I've successfully done multiple times, is I negotiate the concession in your purchase agreement so that you're not paying that, the seller pays it. All right. So the elephant in the room for some may be credit. And if you're concerned about your credit score, let's just relax for a minute. Again, we told you by the end of this session, we want you to be like, we got you. It's going to be fine. Credit can be an issue that we all have to deal with because you know what? We've all lived this life and we made some bad decisions or things have happened. Maybe you're, coming out of college or coming out of school and, you're in the mall and I know they can't give you like this frisbees or other little trinkets just to make an application, but you may have made application on a credit card or, special discount if you open up a credit card account and then guess what? You kind of forget about it, but you got something on that credit card and you forget and you got late payments now reporting and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, what's going on? But the first thing is we want to understand what's going on with your credit report. So There's what we call soft pulls to your credit, and there's hard pulls. The hard pulls are the ones that show up as inquiries on your credit report. So don't let just anybody pull your credit. Let the lender that you decide to ultimately work with pull the credit when the time is right, because they have this magic computer that they can actually just put in your information and they can get a overview of your financial situation before it becomes something that's going to ding your credit score and pull it down. So if you think your score is marginal, it can drop drastically with the several multiple hard pulls on your credit file. So let's not do that right away. This is a mistake. Don't let just anybody pull your credit. Let's work with the lender that's going to help you understand how that impacts you and what's the best way to go about getting the right result. And this leads into the second takeaway when it comes to credit. Don't be a hero. You don't have to try to figure it out on your own. There may be some old collections or some old debts out there that may have been charged off. But if you do your own credit reporting and you pull up something on, like, say, maybe Credit Karma or one of those sites, and you see some old debt, and you're like, well, I'm going to go ahead and take care of that debt myself. Well, you could wake up a debt that's already dead and dormant and bring it back to life by making that one single payment. This can backfire on you, and it happens often. A lot of people try to be heroes and do this on their own before consulting with their lender first. So let's talk to the lender first and let's not be a hero. Okay. Remember, we got you. All right. So when we've decided that we officially want to buy a house, there are about 5 steps that can help you get this done in really 30 days or less. When you're done, we're going to have a whole list of the costs so you can plan for everything the right way. Sound good? So obviously the first step is, how much do I need? Who's going to be asking me for money? All that good stuff. What does it cost to work with you and your team, James? Okay, I want to buy a house, but just give me the facts. What's the real deal? Well, here's the real deal. To work with me and my team, it's free 99. It costs you nothing. If you want to work with myself and Fernando, or quite frankly, any other realtor, you should be able to do that for free because we don't charge you up front. We, we're doing our job the right way. The seller is going to be paying your fee. And if it's going to take us a little bit longer to get the job done, it's all the same to us. We're here to help you. It's not about us, it's about you. So don't worry about, hey, how much does it cost? Or I'm not ready just yet. It's all right. We're here to work with you for now and for the long run. So the first one is going to be, we're going to be filling out a purchase and sell agreement. This is what we call the offer. And once we make an offer or decide to make an offer, we needed to consider 2 things. Number one is our earnest money deposit. It's commonly about 1% of your sales price. So if you're jotting this down or you want to jot it down, you look at that house using our friend Johnny who's buying this house. So Johnny's going to be buying a house for 475. So, 1% of that's going to be what, 4750. So Johnny would be putting 4750 of his money out of his pocket down in escrow to hold that house. The seller is going to be taking the house off the market, meaning that they're not going to be entertaining any other buyers. So while Johnny is in the offer review phase and in this pending status, that earnest money's there to put skin in the game to make sure that Johnny's going to do what he's going to do. And at the end of the transaction, Johnny's going to have the house and the seller will get the money for the house that they're selling. The good news is that this is a fully refundable deposit as long as we do everything according to the purchase and sell agreement. The second fee is going to be your home inspection. Some down payment assistance programs require it, but it's always good measure to have a home inspection because nobody wants to get into a house where it could be a lemon. I mean, imagine getting into a home and your foundation's cracked. You didn't see it. It's just something that the seller didn't know about, but this is a real situation that could be an issue. So again, we want to make sure that you're not getting into a money pit or buying a lemon. Budget about 5 to 750 for that house. So if we just go on the conservative side and look at 750, so now we got about 5,500 bucks out of pocket that we need to budget for. If there are secondary inspections that are needed out of the home inspection process, like your septic system or sewer, roofing system, HVAC, foundation, plumbing, these costs, most of them are all going to be covered by the seller before closing. So there's nothing to freak out about when it comes to those secondary inspections, but they are going to be triggered from your first initial home inspection. And again, these inspections protect you from costly problems that you may not have noticed until after you move in. And if you are someone who may be sensitive to mold or mildew or other things like this nature, or just the fact that you got a leaky roof, who wants to deal with that? All right. So the third step is we've done the inspection and we got three options that's going to be renegotiating the deal. So what we could do is we could actually just terminate the contract. And again, this is where the fully refundable piece of the earnest money kicks in. So you will get all of your earnest money back and we will go out to find another house. The house has just got too many issues. It's just not going to work out. The only catch to that is you will not get the home inspection dollars back. That's an out of pocket expense that you've already incurred. And so that's just something that you're going to have to stomach. So again, we try to find the best ways to handle it. And that leads us into step two, which is picking out 2 to 3 key items, maybe 4. I don't know. It just depends. But if there's a very, very serious situation like your HVAC system is just on its last leg, or there's a major issue with the roofing system, we're going to pick these items out and we're going to ask the seller to make those repairs before closing. And when that happens, we're going to get warranties and receipts that that work was done right and that those contractors were paid in full. Sometimes the seller just doesn't have the money to make those repairs, but they're willing to credit you money off of your purchase price so that you can make those repairs after closing yourself. And I think that's a great way to mitigate this whole process. What we would do in that situation is we would obviously refer you to one of our preferred vendor partners who can get you an estimate on what that repair cost would be. And that way you can know that if you're looking at a $10,000 problem, we're going to get a $10,000 credit. So you're not stuck holding the bag in the end. So that's step 3. I do have to state that, realtors are duty bound to put your interests above their own. Remember, we talked about commission breath. And if this deal doesn't go through, now we've wasted our time. I've shown you 3, 4, 5 homes. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to go back out and look for 3 or 4, 5 more homes. I want to get paid now too. But if your house that we're looking at is not the right one, we're going to terminate the contract and we're going to move on. Our duty is to put your interests first. Okay. So number 4 is the appraisal process. So you want to budget about $900 for an appraisal. If you're not sure what an appraisal is, remember it's something that's a contingency that's based upon, it's sort of an inspection. It's not a very thorough inspection like the home inspection that you paid for and found the right inspector to do the house. It's all about based on the value of the property. The lender wants to make sure that they're not lending too much on the home than what it's worth. And obviously, it's a good thing for you. Why buy something for X amount of dollars when you can get it for Y? That's what the whole appraisal process is designed for. It's there to help you out, but it is an out-of-pocket expense. So budget about $900 for that. So that would put you in the $6,400 range in terms of cash out of pocket just to get to step 5. And once we get to step 5, we go to closing. That earnest money is applied towards your closing costs or down payment, and anything else that's not covered by the seller or the down payment assistance, you would bring those additional monies to closing. And then once that's all done, you get your keys. But there is a few additional steps that I want to showcase to you. And this is where you're going to be signing all those documents. Thankfully, with technology, the lending package or the whole package that you're going to be signing is not as thick. It used to be about this thick, but now it's about a third of that size. But again, there will be documents that you will need to sign as your, surety that you're going to repay the loan. That leads us into mistake number 5. And this really should be mistake number 1 because not hiring the right team is an issue. You're all in this room because of something that you saw that made sense and it was worth a little exploration to dig a little bit deeper into it. So anybody can open a lockbox and show you a home. Any lender can take your mortgage application and run your credit. Any agent can send you homes from an online app. Sure, you can look for homes yourself on all these apps that we have right now. So why would we need a lender? Well, a lender is someone that's experienced. It's not going to just tell you how much you can borrow, but they're going to show you what your payment situation is looking like, because most of the time, nobody's going to live in a home for 30 plus years, but it can happen. But typically, the most important thing, and we talked about the long game, we want to make sure that we understand the long-term investment is what's the best investment. But we also need to understand, what's my today cost? What's my out-of-pocket payment going to look like every month? This is what an experienced, seasoned lending professional can help you understand. As a realtor, I'm not going to just show you houses to get me a check. I want to show you the right house so that when you come home at night, you're going to want to hug that house. You're going to be like, I'm so glad I bought now. I don't have them crazy neighbors anymore. I ain't got to worry about this other situation. I got my own home. In a nutshell, our job is to put on a cape, and it's like a superhero. Like, we put on a cape and we shield and protect you from harm. We want to be your calm commander in this whole process. Again, I had to say it again, but it's our duty to put your interests first. It's our ethical and first and foremost duty. Now, why do we do what we do? Well, I grew up in the Midwest, and I grew up in humble beginnings. And, my mom was an educator, but, she did the best she could. But, I couldn't go to private school. The schools weren't the best, but they weren't the worst. But we want you to be able to put your kids in a better school district, something maybe better than where you went to school. We want to see you in a home where you can gain more equity faster. So understanding the areas that are appreciating better and faster. So maybe you could retire sooner. Maybe you could have those extra dollars so you can start a business. We want to get you the greatest deal possible. We want to make the impossible possible for you. That's what our goal is. This is why we do what we do. And, putting us secondarily or last is that we want you to be raving fans. We want you to run out of this situation of buying a home and say, man, these guys are great. And you're going to tell everybody they need to fire everybody else they got and work with us. This is why we do what we do. How do we do it? Well, again, we have the right mindset. When someone says we can't do it, we say we can. When there's not the right amount of inventory on the MLS, we're looking at off-market properties. We call in favors. We negotiate hard and masterfully for you to get the difficult situations handled. We're going to be persuasive. And as you see me 7:47 tonight, I'm drinking coffee because we do drink copious amounts of coffee to stay alert to get the job done for you. Any coffee lovers out there? All right. Is everything that we're going to do work? No. Everything that we apply doesn't work. It won't work. It's going to be something. But we do pull out all the stops until the problem submits to our will. And when it's all said and done, this is kind of what we look like. We've been through the trenches for you. We're going to get it done, but we're still smiling. We're still ready for action. And we do this every day. So credit situations, guess what? We've seen it before our first cup of coffee in the morning. So there's nothing that can turn us away. And there's no reason and there's no reasoning why we wouldn't fight for you, because again, we want you to know that we care about our customers. And this is why we've been in the business for so long. So we covered a lot so far, and we're almost done. But let me ask you now, how are you feeling? Put it in the chat. Are you less confused? Are you not so overwhelmed? Lower stress? More reassured? Let us know how you feel. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Absolutely. So let's recap. So the 5 costly home buying mistakes that cost you thousands. Going back to mistake number 1, not exploring all buyer programs early. Number 2, doing the right things but in the wrong order. We got that messed up cake because we forgot to leave the baking soda or whatever. Getting sucked into the builder's marketing machine. Remember commission breath and the handsome sales dude. Getting spooked or intimidated by the numbers. And number 5, which should be number 1, not hiring the right team, your calm commanders. So I mentioned staying to the end and talking about our VIP buyer loyalty program and what that entails. And so again, you get that full service home search and negotiation, including off-market deep dives, market insights, inspection negotiations and cost saving strategies to be able to walk you through that whole process of how to ask for the right things to get the seller to say yes versus no. Emotional support, real time advising, whether you want to get on a phone call or a Zoom or a chat, we're here for you. And again, the title and escrow closing service and advice, all that goes into our VIP buyer loyalty program. Now, why? Literally, not everybody puts this together for their customers. I mean, who wants to give away, you know, extra value when they could just get the job done because, hey, you just need a house and I'm just here to help you. But this is what we do. We're putting a concierge service up there in front of you to make sure that we stand out and become the clear and obvious choice. And for our corporate relocations and our military communities, especially right here in Everett with the Naval Station, we specialize in helping those individuals. So I always thank our military veterans for their service, and we want to be respectful and speak to the need and the value that the military community brings to us. So remember Johnny, right? Now Johnny's been through this class and he says, I'm going to buy a home. He had that $475,000 purchase price, FHA loan with 3.5% down, which is 16,225, which leaves a loan amount around 466. He's got that $18,000 plus down payment assistance or 4% of the loan, which left him with $2,030 left in reserves. 2026 is the year really right now of a surge. The thaw is over. Right now, we're seeing about 14% increase in sales activity. There's more mortgage applications happening right now. So we think about waiting, and trying to time the market. The 3% rates are dead. We're normalized and stabilized in that high 5-6% range. This is a national average. And again, the demand is there. But let me tell you this, you're a select few that's in this room right now. And if you take advantage of these programs and you think about that extra down payment assistance that goes into what you already have prepared to buy a home and you act now, what if the rates went down anymore? What would that do to the demand? Would that bring more buyers out or would that bring less buyers out? It would bring more. If there was more buyers competing for homes in your price point, then this is how waiting can cost you thousands. 31% increase in mortgage applications year over year. That shows us that it's intent. And this is what the deep market research and insights that come from our VIP buyer loyalty program, because we're dealing with realtors and lending professionals that are doing the research, keeping our ear low to the ground to understand what all this data means. So we want to make sure you understand it's not a FOMO situation, a fear of missing out. We don't want to create stress or anxiety, but we're letting you know that the indication is it's time to move versus waiting. And here's what it looks like in terms of dollars out of pocket, because we do a cost comparison for our clients when they do prepare for buying a home. And we talk about the medium to long game. And we think about if you're going to buy a home, will you be spending less or more in terms of renting versus buying? So if you look at the short game, the answer is no, keep renting because it's going to cost you about $20,000 more without down payment assistance, of course, to own a home versus continue to rent because of the closing costs, the broker commissions, and all that you will be taking on yourself. Year two, that total impact would be lesser than the first year. But look what happens in years 3, 4, 5, 6. You start getting equity because the home is appreciated and the mortgage has been paid down. When you pay your rent, you're paying a mortgage. It's just that you're not paying your mortgage, you're paying your landlord's mortgage. So this is what happens over time with appreciation and the term we call amortization or paying down the mortgage. This is what happens. This is it in a nutshell. And again, this is another illustration about what's happening with renting over time. It goes up. Anybody ever had the rent increased? Well, when you have a mortgage, your mortgage stays the same. And when you look at the rates right now, where we're at 7%, there were still homes being sold at 7%. But in the Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue, which is our Western Washington aggregate, so that includes Olympia, Everett, and so on and so forth. But there was at 7%, there was about 390-some thousand households and about 80,000 renters. If the rates come down just 1 point where they're at right now, that's 67,000 more families who could afford buying a home. So again, we're all talking about exploration and information gathering at this point. So asking questions, having a consultation with a trusted advisor, no obligation. We're not going to put a gun to your head. Just getting that information is a big deal because this is where we're at right now. There's really no middle class anymore. It's either haves or have nots. And home ownership is the key to becoming a have versus a have not. Houses are not decreasing in value. All right. So I just want to make sure you understand that the new normal is that 6%. And there is a gap between how many properties are available and how many buyers are out there to purchase houses. And again, looking at the migration from Seattle to Everett and maybe from Seattle to Tacoma, Pierce County, is that when we look at the average price, we're somewhere in the 672. And again, this is an aggregation of all the new homes, all the pre-existing homes. But you're looking at Seattle, you're almost at $900,000. Now, why is this a situation? Well, because we have a lot of great industry here. I mean, we got Boeing, we got other tech jobs. Folks like the lifestyle out here with the trees, the trails, the rivers. These homeowners that have been sitting in their homes for 30, 40 years, I mean, these are what we call the golden handcuffs, or even those that are less than that. If I have a 2.5 or 2.8% mortgage rate, why would I want to make a move and pay a 6% mortgage? Well, this is why it's great to move now because those persons are thinking like, I got a ton of equity, but I don't know who's going to buy my house. So this is why we want to make sure to stay in touch with the local reality. This is another illustration of what happens in terms of price. If we look at this scenario, a home that's worth 756 today, in about 5 years, that home's going to be worth about 960. So again, the longer you wait, do the math. Just looking at our conservative appreciation in terms of about 5% a year in appreciation, you're going to pay more by waiting. And if you don't get a 5% pay increase every year from your employer, and you can pull the trigger now, why wait? Again, we talk about the competition when the bidding wars happen. The bidding wars happen when more availability to capital or access to lending happens. This is where the wealth gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger because we need to think about buying now versus continuing to wait, trying to time the market. That is a huge mistake. Again, we have a lot of different opportunities. We talked about our builder incentive program. Believe it or not, there are adjustable rate mortgages that are coming back that could be a strategy for you. Again, talk to your financial professional and your lender to go over what's the best way to go when it comes down to that. You can also get gift funds from family members. Think about also with your 401ks. And we do like to talk about this in our home buyer class in person, is that we want to think about savings. We want to think about being smart with our money. So if you don't have to go out to eat, if you don't have to have all the streaming services, save your money. Work on having those reserves. Lenders like that. You become really attracted to a lender when you have some reserves. So let's do some quick napkin math. I know we're getting close on time. I want to get you out of here right on time. But let's think about again for just a quick napkin math situation. If you had that expert lending advice and assistance and could tap into $18,000 in savings, if you had the buying process nailed down with expert negotiations, insights, pricing strategy, and if you had the value of that VIP buyer loyalty program, that could come out to about $50,000 in value. Because again, if you don't have an agent that's going to negotiate hard, or if you're going out there trying to get that price negotiated on your own, good luck. This is where the $50,000 mistake can come in. So, was this a good use of your time on a Wednesday night? Let me know in the chat. Was it yes or no? Did you enjoy this? Did you find this valuable? Let us know in the chat. Yes or no? Do you feel confident in your ability of avoiding the 5 big mistakes? Type yes in the chat if you feel like you have the ability to avoid those mistakes. Do you want to know exactly what you should do next? Type yes in the chat. Do you want to know exactly what you should do next? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you got one job. You got one job and you got one job only. And that's to tell us what you really want. Tell us what you really want. If you want or need 5 bedrooms, Don't edit yourself and say, I'll take 4. I don't want to ask for 5. If you need to be closer to work, the commute is just killing you. You know, you're driving an hour and a half to work. Traffic is crazy in Seattle. If that's what you need, let us know. If you want to be in a situation where you have that equity position, something that you can own, you're tired of having to tell the kids you can't have a dog or a cat because we rent in this apartment, let us know. And then you let us worry about how to make it happen for you. So let us know. Tell us this is your job. This is your only job. Again, if you'd like to schedule some time with Fernando and ourselves, you know, the appointment availability does fill up, but nonetheless, again, we're not here to pressure or create any anxiety, but we want to give you an opportunity to book some time with us, have a 20, 30-minute conversation, get the answers that you need from an actual professional, someone who's vested in this, who's experienced at this. Again, we like to say, and it's not an ego thing, but it's like we don't need your business, but we want your business. You know what I mean? We're doing okay. I mean, it's not like, you know, we're hurting. We're not doing this out of desperation. We really want to help you. This wraps up our meeting for tonight. We want to thank you for attending. If you want to connect with us on social media or you want to reach out to us directly, feel free to scan the QR code or find us on Google, find us on realtor.com. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how we did, how you felt about this whole process. Again, I wanted to thank you all for being here. And this is really concludes our meeting for tonight, but we want to open it up for any questions. I know Gene came in first with a question, so I want to answer that for you right now. So I'm licensed in Washington State only, but I have a global network. This is my company, JTH Premier Homes, but I'm affiliated with eXp Realty, and we operate in 29 countries. We have a great presence in North Carolina. As a matter of fact, at our national conference, I met a great gal in North Carolina. So I'd love to introduce you to her. But again, we can take it offline as far as the details, but just let me know if you want to schedule some time.
Yep.
Fantastic. And again, you will get a recording of this meeting as well.
I'm always open to talk about financing. You can email me, or I did send my link to the class that had requested and emailed me. So hope to see you on. We do a free lunch. It's in Edmonds, so I know it might be a little bit dry for some people, but I think it's well worth it to figure out what your next step is into buying a home. So.
Absolutely. Well said, Fernando. Yes, you're right. This initial consultation, we want to make sure it's really easy for you because we know you all have lives and jobs and things of that nature. Some of you not even here in the state. We will meet with you virtually or in person. We're going to definitely be respectful of your, you know, your desire. So if you don't want to be bothered, we won't going to bother you, but we do want to see you in a home. We want to see our, you know, again, it's not about just one ethnic group, but we serve well in this space because it matters. I mean, the generational wealth divide is just glaring. It's just huge. And I think at, you know, at my heart, that whole BIPOC community, I'm really concerned with about home ownership. So that's why I do what I do. But it's not to mean that anybody as in other isn't valued as well. Let us know how we can best serve you. You just let us know what you want and we'll make it happen.
I want to add, James.
Mhm.
So a few people have mentioned the covenant loan program, and I would like to just say, you know, the biggest kind of concern about it is what's the catch, right?
Mhm.
Well, it's not a grant, it's a loan. However, it's probably the best type of down payment assistance that I've ever seen. And the numbers are real. And the clients that are pre-qualified, which currently I have 3, are real. You don't even need to make mortgage application to see if you qualify. So it's like, well, if I don't get the covenant loan, I'm not going to be able to buy a house. So I don't feel like making a mortgage application. I am licensed to see if you qualify for it, and I can walk you through the process of filling out the form. And I think the numbers last year was 1,100 families, not people, but families who were able to get homes using the covenant program. Now, if you're curious of like what the covenant program is or other down payment assistance loans, you can email me. I'll put my email again, or the chat, or ask James about the success of it. Again, we are doing a class, so it'll fill up pretty quickly because they just registered the class on the commission, and that's typically where we get a lot of our attendees there.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks, Tim. I'm glad you enjoyed the vibe. We enjoyed, again, this was really our most lively course or class, so to speak, because we've done this now, I think 3 times since this year, 3 or 4. I can't remember off the top of my head. They just kind of run together because we've been having a great time doing this. This is something that, again, we thought about this. We put our heads to work. I mean, made the investment to advertise this opportunity on Facebook and Instagram, and we want to make sure to get the information out to buyers, potential buyers, soon to be buyers like yourselves. Lively group, thank you so much for participation. And if you've booked your appointment, we would definitely look forward to meeting with you and excited about what's the next for you. Fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much for your participation and hanging with us for about an hour on a Wednesday night. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. Let us know how you liked it. Sarah also left a link for our review opportunity. So, if there's something we could do better, if anything we left out, believe me, it wasn't intentional. We just got so much information to cover that we don't want to put you to sleep. We're going hours and hours long. But again, let us know how we can help. I know Claudia says, definitely need a dog. I get it. 4 beds, 2 baths. We got you, Claudia. Absolutely. Again, these meetings are essentially not going to be in person. There'll be a phone call or a Zoom call just like this where we can have a conversation just offline between yourself, myself, and maybe Fernando will join us if needed. But we just want to have that first initial consultation to get you more information, let you know how we can best help, and go from there. Don't feel like this is a catch. There's no catch. It's like, hey, once you get what you need, again, we're living out of that abundance mindset that it's not a catch. If you meet with us and what you hear is helpful and you go out and buy a house with another mortgage professional, another realtor, great. As long as you get out of that rent cycle. But we would love to serve you well if that's in the cards for you. Let us know if there's any other questions. We would love to make sure we get those answers to you now so you don't have to guess.
She asked, is it okay to shop for lenders? Of course, it's totally okay to shop for lenders. But as James was referring to earlier, so the WISH-FIC, or the Washington State Housing Finance Commission loans, which we're emphasizing, I guess you can tell from I keep talking about them, they're all the same across the board. So it's more of a question of, do you feel comfortable working with this particular loan officer or broker? If you're going with just regular FHA, yes, you can definitely shop lenders. The company I work for, we really do like to price ourselves pretty favorably with VA and FHA. So that's specific pricing for not using down payment assistance. Also, let's say you have a lender that you really like, but XYZ lender is $1,000 cheaper to do, whatever with. My company will match, we won't beat, but we'll match to win your business over if you so choose one to. If you like us that much and want to give us a chance. So this is always something I ask clients, like if you're shopping me, totally fine. I would do the same thing. But I always ask, give me a chance to win your business. And that's the best I can ask for, right? But ultimately, yeah, to answer your question, Ruby, yes, you can shop around for lenders. Just know that the down payment assistance, like Covenant, it's the same across the board because it's through a nonprofit. It's not through a government loan. So hope that answers your question, Ruby.
Yep. And on the broker side, same thing. Sometimes you just know when you know. If we're not the right fit, yeah, I think we should definitely find ourselves looking for a change. But if it's all about qualifications, all about, effort and concern for seeing you reach and cross the finish line, I don't know if there's a team that's going to outperform the effort and the hustle that we put into the process. But that's me speaking of myself. But again, look at the reviews, check out the areas that I've sold in. I have gone over to Thurston County, out there to Hoquiam. I've been way up north. Anybody ever heard of Lummi Island? I've sold up there, so I have no problem selling anywhere or going anywhere to help serve my customer. So yeah, we're here for you.
Cool. And it looks like someone just signed up from this session to the class. So yeah, we're good.
Thanks for being here. I think we got everybody's questions answered in the chat. If you want to book some time, feel free to do so. We'll go ahead and wrap up for tonight. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. All right, everyone. Thank you again for being here.